title isn't right, but I can fix it. And the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to be playing some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo!
Oh,
Woohoo!
oh, holy
All the
crap.
dungeons.
I'm Christiana Ellis. I'm the Dungeon Master. I'm also updating the episode title here on the stream layout. Just a moment. Our players tonight, Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn,
Good evening.
Mark Kilfoyle as Vertigo,
Hi. Whoa.
Starla Hutchton as Carolina Swift,
Hello, friends.
and Jenny Meltzer as Zaylene. But Zaylene is going to be probably the first topic of conversation as we begin our recap here, because the Pocket Protectors, while traveling by train to Emersham, found themselves in a strange pocket dimension trap with a labyrinth of twisting, turning tunnels shifting around behind them, all leading eventually to a strange beholder-like creature that called itself an Overmind, and he basically decided that he wanted to test you via combat, and it turns out he lost. But in his last desperate act with his Mega Beam attack, he did an awful lot of damage. And following that terrible attack, one of your number, Zaylene, was left unmoving, unbreathing on the floor of this strange stone chamber, surrounded by treasure and victory for her friends. But it would appear that Zaylene has died. And so I think we will resume our story right where we left off, which is the Overmind has fallen. He has crashed to the floor and is no longer moving, destroyed by Vertigo and Carolina's final attacks. But at what cost?
Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Well, first things
All
first.
right. How
I'm
has
going
it,
to run over like screaming, to Zaylene. Probably try healing word, but it won't work.
No.
has it been more than a minute?
No, we're picking up just right immediately after the end of combat.
Zinhorn is going to run over, slide in, and cast Revivify.
Okay, just jumping right to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, perhaps as we imagine that that's happening, do we want to just, like, what else is everybody doing as Zinhorn is preparing to cast that spell?
I am going to gather her in my arms and just be crying.
That was dangerous. I'm sure she'll be all right. Mostly. I mean, Follow's a goddess of death, right? So death shouldn't be that big a deal. Right, Zinhorn?
Not with me around. When you got a cleric of life, I'm the life of the party.
Life and death. Never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, we
It's
work well together.
interesting that you guys can tell jokes as Lynn is just sobbing.
Yeah, well,
Zinhorn's, he's setting out the stuff. He's got to set out all the diamonds and the incense and whatnot.
Is there anything I can help with? I'm not really into the whole how do people live thing.
yeah, I've got the diamond, and it's instantaneous. It just boom, done.
Okay. Boom, done.
Boom, done.
So, as Zinhorn begins to cast that spell, we zoom in on Zaylene's unconscious face, and then suddenly we're in darkness. Whoosh. We're in another place. And Zaylene, you, I think, don't sleep, but you've been rendered unconscious before. I think at first the experience wasn't any different than that. But now, as you find yourself sort of traveling through a dark void, in some respects, it is similar to visions you've had when the Mistress of the Dark communicated with you. But without necessarily realizing it, you always in those times were aware that what was happening is that in your mind, you were experiencing a vision while your body remained where it was. You were never unaware that that's what was happening. Now it very much feels as though your link back to that body has been severed. You feel light, but also fragile in a way that you didn't before. You feel at the mercy of these strange winds that are hurtling you through this void. And there's a sense, I'm not going to tell you your emotional reaction to it, but there's very much a sense that whereas before it's one thing to give yourself over to a vision or even to find that you cannot wake yourself up from a vision, it's another thing to recognize that there is no waking up. This is, you are here now. This is not just in your mind. And further, that you are aware of existing now as a shade. You feel as though you have lost part of yourself. And that's perhaps hard to quantify, but you realize it intuitively. However, where you are finding yourself drawn is not unfamiliar otherwise. But I think you know what has happened. What are you thinking as you find yourself traveling across this darkened landscape?
Is it over? Is that all? What about Lynn? What about Nedry? What about Zinhorn? What about what they need me, right? And like those words are just like going over and over and over again in my mind.
Mm-hmm. I think that you begin to realize that you are not in a void, a dark of darkness only. It is dark here, but there is land that you are traveling over, and you begin to recognize general sort of geographical shapes that are familiar and yet different. And I think that you recognize that you are perhaps in the Shadowfell and you are traveling back to the place in the Shadowfell that corresponds first to Pashan. You see enormous, empty looking, Gothic skyscrapers towering impossibly high into the sky, blocks of deserted streets, and then you see a ruin of a mansion that looks very much like the Reclaimer's mansion. And then you zip all the way in through a window and you find yourself in a room where you see an altar, very much like the altar that had been set up to the Mistress of the Dark in the Reclaimer's Mansion, the first place that you remember of the material plane. And through that altar, you see just a tiny glimpse of light that doesn't show you any detail, but once again, you can feel your friends on the other side. And you can see that altar, but the rest of the room falls away. And you hear what sounds like the flapping of enormous wings and a rustling. And then a voice. Zaylene, you have served me well. You have done all that I have asked for you and more. And now you have given your life in my service. This is all that I can ask of any of my servants. If you wish it, you may rest.
I'm not ready. There's still so much to do, and I don't want to leave them yet.
What is it that you are feeling?
Incomplete. That there's something I still have to do.
There is nothing that you have to do. But there are things that you may choose to do.
I want to help them. And after that, I'm at your mercy.
There's the hint of a smile in the voice is, you are at my mercy now. But I am granting
That's
that mercy.
true. Thank you.
As I say, you have given your life in service. There is no more obligation that you have. You are granted life and have given it back. But if you do choose to continue the work, to help your friends, that is a choice that I respect. And I will grant you that opportunity.
Thank you.
And though it is appropriate that you remember where that opportunity has come from, I request also that you remember in the trials to come that this was your choice.
Well,
And that when you are ready, once again, you may rest.
Thank you, mistress.
And I think then the light from that altar starts to glow brighter, and you start to hear voices through it. What is she hearing, the rest of you?
Probably me crying in her ear.
We didn't hear you, Paul. You're muted.
Yes, I am. Boom, done.
Really hope this works.
All right, Saline. The diamond is gone. It's gone. She's look. There's color returning to her cheeks and
Well,
everything.
what I would say is you have cast the spell and you felt it go out, but you know that with Revivify, a necessary requirement is that the soul must be willing to return.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for a moment, that has not happened yet.
Come on, Saline.
I was wondering about this, given the way that we encountered her in the first place. I don't still really know what she is. I know how she appears and how we've treated her, but she could be more spirit than soul. But I'm sure, looking at Lynn and the concern on her face, I'm sure that she'll be fine. Just ask her, then, maybe.
So Lynn's kind of like picked her up and is just kind of like, because she's on the floor and she's picked her up and kind of has her like head just holding her like this and just, please come back, please come back, please come back. We need you, please come back.
All right. So,
More
Zaleen,
tears and snot.
that is what you hear from the light. You look back and you see a welcoming, comforting darkness. And in front of you, you see the light and the voices of your friends.
I will be back.
There's, just a sense of
Oh, I know you do.
or I think it's just it's like, I will be here. And then I think, Zaleen laying there on the floor of this strange dungeon begins to breathe. And the spell has taken effect. So
How do you feel? Do you feel different?
And
I
I will
don't even know
immediately
if you could hear
cast-
that over that what his question over like my just sobbing in your ear because this is really loud.
And I'll spend a 4th level spell to cast Detect Nightmare.
okay. You detect kind of where you have felt kind of like that residual energy, but you get the feeling that like Zonanox, the overmind that you fought, was not himself actually corrupted by nightmare, nor a nightmare creature of the kind you understand. Certainly, a monster, an aberration from somewhere else, but different from Tanglefoot and the like. However, it would appear from the residue that someone like that has been here.
But nothing coming from Zaleen
No.
herself.
Well, that's a relief. I was a bit concerned that on that precipice between life and death, there might be some entrance for. Nothing to worry about. It's fine. Everything worked.
Yep.
Does she have any uh like does it bring her back to like one hit point?
1 hit point,
And sh-
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
about to do cure wounds on her.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing because I've already got her.
Yeah. Well, I just brought her back from the dead, so both of us heal her.
I mean, both of you
Well,
may
more.
do as much as you would like. You're all still in this sort of treasure chamber within these strange dark tunnels, surrounded, as you know, as was shown on that map, with piles of loot, and of course in the corner is the sagging, enormous bulk of what was once Zonanox the Overmind.
You know, I think we undermined his confidence.
Really like to know how this place works. I guess it still exists. Still exists. Should it exist? I'm not so sure that it should.
Well, he dreamed himself into being,
Right. Or
but
believed
that,
he did.
or believed that he did. But if we take it at face value, then I mean, like, we were hitting solid meat there, and then he was hitting hard back. That wasn't a dream.
Well, I mean, if you were going to dream yourself into existence, would you want to be a ghost? You'd want to have flesh. You'd want to be in the world. Or in your own world, I guess.
I don't know. You want to start hoovering up all of the gold and stuff in with your bag?
Well, it'll only hold a certain amount.
There's like a giant room in there. It's way bigger than all of these piles of gold.
I suppose we could pay Yobert back. Must be something
Well,
more interesting than that here, though.
true. Technically, he does get first cut since we're working for him. So, I mean, we will have to go through it and make an accounting to him.
How do you feel, Zaline? Are you okay?
Yeah. A little tired. I
Well,
think I'm okay.
you don't sleep, so
I still get weary.
how did you get unweary?
I meditate.
Hmm. Admirable. I'm glad you're not dead anymore. I was a little bit. Well, it was testing theories that I wasn't really looking forward to the practical results of. I'm glad I was wrong.
Me too.
Give yourself another 8.
Maybe we need to rethink our. Maybe we need to have a strategy for things like this. I'm not good at strategy.
So Lynn just takes hold of your face and she's like, "Do not ever do that again, please."
I don't say anything. I just hug you.
Zinhorn, let's go inspect some piles over there.
Uh, um, yeah, I'm with you on that.
And he'll begin to ritually cast detect magic.
Okay. Sure. So that's going to take a little bit, but you
Yep.
can certainly begin that as a ritual. Are you, Zinhorn, kind of, roughly inventorying?
And studiously ignoring what's going on behind us.
Sure. Um, yeah, so I think at, the quick glance version is there's a lot of coins. As you start sort of kicking through some of the piles, it turns out that some of those piles have like some silver and copper in them, and it's like the gold has been carefully like placed on like the outside of the pile, so it's not necessarily gold all the way through, but the coins have been placed to look like a haphazard pile of only gold coins. But it is still quite a lot of coins. You'll have to count, but it's quite a few. There are some pretty substantial looking gemstones here and there, and then you see a very fancy belt of what looks like, I don't know. Make a history check. We didn't hear you.
A history check.
Yes,
10.
10. Yeah, you're not sure. It looks like vaguely sort of maybe dwarven make or maybe giant. And then there is a very fancy sort of magic gemstone crystal looking thing. Like it's crystal or gem like, but it's bigger and it's got like little runes all over it.
All right. Put that in the bag for later examination.
Oh, you're just like
In my,
you're
well,
just
no,
stuffing stuff into the bag.
No, no,
I
no.
mean, that's
Well, no,
fine.
no.
You can do that. Whatever you want.
oh, I mean, like in my, okay, I look at it a
All
little
right.
closely.
Okay. You can make a Arcana check. If you
Okay.
do you have that proficiency?
No.
Well, then it looks very magic. You recall vaguely that Zonanox bragged about having a very fancy, what he called a dreamstone that was protective in nature.
Okay.
But you can't really tell anything else about it by looking at it.
I'm gonna bring those over to Vertigo, and I am also looking for diamonds to replenish my diamond supply.
All right. Well, you know what? Let me so what I have is I've got a treasure table here where you have 9 stones, and let's roll to see which of them are diamonds versus other kinds of stones. As you start like picking up the gemstones and then cycling through that stuff. Where was that? Treasure hoards. That was in, I believe, just the Dungeon Mastery Guide. Yeah. Okay. Types of treasure. Okay, let's see. Roll 9d6.
9.
And I don't want the
96. No,
9d6.
9d6.
And
yes.
I don't want, well, actually, you know what? Never mind. We don't want to use that that table because weirdly there are no diamonds on that table, which is weird. Like they have these gemstones as like none of them include diamonds. Why wouldn't they? That's bizarre. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say then I'm going to choose to replace one of the ones on that table with diamond instead of what it says, because I feel like it's
Okay.
reasonable that some of them might be diamonds. All right, so
Ready?
96, and then tell me how many of each number you get. I don't want the total.
Okay. One, oh, they vanished.
If you hover over it in the
Roll
roll
20.
20, it shows you each number.
Oh, okay. Let me go look at roll 20. Thank you. Oh, there it is. 2 6s,
Okay.
2 2s, 3 1s and 2 4s.
Okay, so the 3 1s are what look like alexandrite, transparent, dark green gemstones. They're big. All of these gemstones you would estimate would have a street value of 500 gold.
Okay.
The 4s, which I believe you said 2 of those, are
Mhm.
blue spinel. And then did you say like 2 2s?
Yeah, 2 2s
Aquamarines,
and 2 6s.
and those will be diamonds. So you have 2 500 gold diamonds.
All right. Did you get all that, Mark? Okay. I'm gonna put the diamonds in my pouch and put the rest with the party treasure, because I need those for bringing people back from the dead.
So while Zinhorn is wandering through the piles, picking out the gemstones specifically, and Vertigo is, ritually casting detect magic, Zeline and Carolina, are you just kind of still just sitting with each other, or?
Yeah, still crying.
I'm just like there-thering her for
So
now.
traumatized right now.
Mhm. It's like, are you okay, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm like, are you okay?
Yay.
Healing,
Mhm.
healing word on you.
All right. Well, so I suppose nothing else pressing seems to happen. I think actually that there is a moment before the ritual has finished, Vertigo, where you all feel sort of like a vague minor tremor through the walls and floor, but it's not terribly violent. It's just a little rumble, and then it goes away after a few seconds. But then you are able to finish your detect magic, Vertigo, and certainly this whole place is generally magic in the sense that it's extra planar, and it's not none of this material is of the material world in that sense. It all is giving you sort of vaguely conjured energy to it, but at a level that is more residual and not active. So, like, you don't think a dispel would do it, wouldn't change it. But certainly, you also see significant magic energy coming off of both the fancy stone and the fancy belt that Zinhorn found. You also see kind of muted, but a general sort of aura that seems to be coming from the body of the Overmind.
Are we, he may not be entirely dead. Or he may never have actually been alive, depending on how you look at it.
Make an intelligence check, Vertigo.
Intelligence.
Yeah,
I have that.
I thought you might.
7.
Well, you know what? I was about to say roll with advantage anyway, so go ahead and do so. Because it's with the detect magic up. It's part of how you're.
It is possible to roll lower, but I got a crit, so
There you
25.
go. All right. Well, there you go. So what you realize, sort of with a little brief epiphany, is what you're seeing there is that there is something of significant magic inside the Overmind's body. Yeah. So the
I think
body
he's
is not magic.
swallowed.
The second that you say, I'm not sure that he's dead, like Lynn just pops straight to attention, and I'm going to cast Shatter on the dead body.
Kaboom!
Nice.
Splat! 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 Splat!
It's gonna take a lot to clean.
Yeah. The
Who-
body
who-
is
who's
in
gonna
worse shape
care?
than it was a moment ago.
What's the radius of splatter for shatter? No, that's a new name of the spell, splatter.
Has everyone seen that video of when they blew up the whale on the beach?
Oh,
God.
yes.
Not quite that dramatic, but you're also in a contained room and not outside on a beach.
Did the shatter reveal the
Uh,
magic within or
no,
no?
because it's a shockwave from nearby it, so it kind of like splats it, but it's not completely exploded. So you do suspect that like the body is further damaged, but whatever it is still obscured inside.
I think he might have swallowed something. That may have been how he did all this. I'd really
I'm
like to know.
I'm gonna get up and walk over there with the shade blade. I'm gonna walk like really decrepitly.
Mhm.
And I'm going to try to carve into it and see
Okay,
if I can reveal
sure.
what he's seeing.
I'm gonna cast Mage Hand to just point.
No, a little lift to the left. No, my left.
Meanwhile, Lynn is on your heels, and when you start doing that, she kind of turns away.
um, so give me a mental picture here, because like the body of this thing, although sort of like sagging and partly splattered now, is pretty big. I mean, it's like the size of a grizzly bear, just in sort of blob shape, right?
I'm gonna
Has
do
all
it
the
with like
different eyes, has a big sort of gaping mouth with bad breath and a lolling tongue and sharp teeth, and like great big central eye. Like, so what is your approach here?
surgical precision. I'm just gonna like jam the blade in under its mouth
Mm-hmm.
and then just start like carving upward so that I can sort of like pull it apart
Mm-hmm.
once I have a big enough slice in it.
Sure. Um, how about, do you want to sell me on survival or on medicine?
Hmm.
Or if you think you're literally just saying brute force, what's the quickest way to the center, then we could do something else.
I'll do
How many
survival.
licks does it take to get
Yeah.
to the center of an
All right.
overmind?
So, because like medicine would be like we're dissecting this thing. Survival is like this is a kill and you're butchering it, right?
Yep.
Right.
So I'm gonna do survival.
Okay.
I always thought it was weird that they call it when they like skin the thing, it's like dressing when
Hmm.
it's kind of the opposite.
Well, I suppose part of what that is that whatever you're taking off of it, like the meat or the hide or whatever, you're trying to get that in a shape that you can transport it, right? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, but you're kind of undressing whatever it is.
No, I hear you. Yeah, yeah. But in any case, I think while you
14.
were, okay, yeah. So I think you're making, given it's very strange biology. Um, tell me how well is Zaleen handling just the, how should I put it, the tremendous grossness of this? You just getting to work,
You know,
unfazed.
she's sort of, yeah, she's like desensitized
Mm-hmm.
at this point. Like it's just death. It's just
Okay.
a body. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So, Carolina, how are you reacting to she you lost her and then she got back and then you were hugging and now she is just shoulder deep in beholder meat and slime and drool and blood and God knows what else.
I'm reacting with a lot of prestidigitation.
Kind of almost
Like,
imagine
nope.
the equivalent of a
Nope.
nosegay, just casting it right under your nose, like continuously.
uh Vertigo, Zinhorn, what are you doing while she's up to that?
I was gonna do it, so I'm
All right.
just
You
uh,
can help.
watching,
All right.
learning,
Yeah. All right.
trying to not get covered in gore.
So everyone's just watching her do that. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
no,
that,
that's fine. I'm just trying to, clarify because it's going to take a little bit. It's big.
I think that Vertigo is kind of, the curiosity is driving him forward, but he's also like, That's not what I expected it to look like. Is she really okay? I'm not so sure this is okay. Oh, there it is. No. So there's a lot of like mixed
Well, I think
reaction.
I would think that anyone who has even a passing interest in anatomy would probably, if they could get past the initial revulsion, would just be fascinated by like, how does this thing's body even work?
I mean, that's technically one of my hobbies, but not like this.
Yeah.
Dissection
I
is one of your
mean,
hobbies?
No, anatomy and physiology.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Th-
Usually doesn't involve knives though.
From the outside, usually
Yeah.
though.
So like it has a big mouth and a tongue and everything, but it's kind of just head. Like what? Like if it tried to eat something, where would it like? Does it have lungs?
Um,
yeah.
from
Sin- uh,
no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, he's got like, medic and doctor kind of skills, so he's watching it with interest, trying to like, that, where's there
Mhm.
should be more parts in there.
Yeah.
Does it look like it's uh does it look like it's all real, or does part of it look made up or ambiguous maybe?
I'd like to pull out a liver flap and just sort of toss it over my shoulder.
I think that anyone with kind of a knowledge of anatomy looking through it, like I think your best guess would be that this thing's organs are not probably traditionally functional so much as whatever made this thing kind of thought that there probably should be organs, and so there are some. That's kind of the vibe you're getting here. Because they
Yeah.
don't really make any sense otherwise. But I think as you're in the process of this, and like I said, I mean, this, it would take a while. This is not a 1 or 2 minute thing. This is half an hour.
Probably go
Mhm.
quicker if Zinhorn helped.
Well, I mean, it's again, it's different if you're just hacking the thing into mush. That's different than if you're trying to carefully take it apart to try to get at whatever's inside carefully. So, I mean, tell me if you want to change up the approach.
I'm just doing it. Like
Yeah,
if Zinhorn comes over and starts hacking away, I would probably just sort of look at him like, "What are you doing?" and then just go back to what I'm doing. So
No, I mean, like, I'll help with the whole
Sure.
surgical thing.
Yeah, it'll be a little faster if you're assisting.
Yep, I'll assist.
Forceps, scalpel. The as that
Chainsaw.
is proceeding, there is another tremor, and it's a little bit more significant this time. It lasts a few seconds longer, and then I think all of you are probably aware of the, notice that there is a sort of a weird thunk sound, and you realize that in this room, which was kind of was it octagonal? I don't actually have the map in front of me anymore, but like a
Yeah.
polyhedron shape, right? One of those like diagonal walls has sort of just popped out to be more like a right angle. So the room has just like shifted its shape following that tremor.
Oh boy.
I have a feeling that whatever this was made of is reverting back. We
Yeah.
may not have time for this. This is disgusting.
And Vertigo will move forward and kind of lean as far back as his little body can while putting the bag out and trying to scoop part of it into the bag.
You're gonna try to put the body in the bag?
Yep.
Well, it's so as a whole, it's too big.
It won't go in. Okay.
It's too big. It's a large creature.
Gotcha.
But
I don't think it's gonna fit.
But
All right.
I mean, carving it up, you can put pieces in there, but that's. I
Do you want the whole thing or just the thing inside it?
I'm mostly
the-
curious about the thing inside it.
All
I
right.
have a feeling it might be tied to how it managed to manifest itself. And if that's the case, it might have some power that we can use.
right.
If you want to kind of try to hurry, you can make someone can make a sleight of hand check. I mean, it sounds like it's Zaleen doing it, so maybe you can make it with advantage if Zinhorn is
I'll
helping.
help.
If you want to try
Okay.
to like hurry this up instead of, being careful.
So I'm really good at those. I'm just
I mean,
Well, you're like prestidigitating. Yeah, that's not good. It was like a 12.
okay. Yeah. I mean, you are trying to hurry, but you are kind of you keep like slicing into sacks of stuff that like then sort of fill that cavity with, goo of various consistencies. And it's like, oh, look, the goo from this one and the goo from that one don't mix. You see them like swirling together like oil and vinegar. But what does that mean? I don't know. But you're sticking your hands in it anyway. And you're kind of hurrying, but it's getting messier. And the room sort of trembles again. And
We may have
then
to leave soon.
one whole side now suddenly looks like when you were in the train car and you were in like a box that looked like scenery moving by. One whole
Mhm.
side of this room now looks like that.
okay. So I'm starting to get a little concerned here. So I'm just kind of like I'm gonna kind of peek in there and like maybe wedge myself and just let me try see if I can do it because I think we gotta go, you guys. So I'm gonna you said sleight of hand. I give it a
Yep.
try.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a 27.
Guidance.
27. Okay, yeah. um so I think yeah, you are reaching in, probably being directed approximately to where the I think the detect magic would have worn off by now because it was only 10 minutes, right? But towards the vicinity where you were told this would happen. And so I think you're reaching in and you find something hard and like non-organically shaped, like it has like smooth sides to it and like edges. And as you reach in to try to like get a handle on it and pull it free, please make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Guidance.
Uh, what is guidance?
You get to
D4.
add a D4.
Yeah.
So 15 total.
Okay. Yeah. I think that as you are pulling it free, it weirdly kind of lurches in your hand, kind of like when a gyroscope has its kind of the way that it wants to be pointing up. This thing that you're pulling out feels like it wants to be in a certain orientation, and it couldn't while it was stuck in the flesh. But as you're trying to remove it, you feel it trying to move in your hand with a sort of like this side up sort of motion. But you are able to maintain a hold of it as you pull it free, and you realize you got really lucky because the other part that comes out when you pull this out, you realize you grabbed the end that doesn't have a bunch of sharp sliver spikes sticking out of it.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's like that, so if you had kind of just reached a little bit to the left, you would have just put your hand around something that looks like a crystal sea urchin. With extremely sharp little points on it. But what you have is more like a handle for it. And as you are emerging, bringing it out further, you you are able to remove it. It looks like a wand with this strange sort of crystal star shape on it. But as you pull it out completely, and it's sort of you feel, now that it's completely free of the body, you feel it trying to point itself in a certain direction. Do you let it, or do you try to prevent it? You are physically strong enough to prevent it if you want, but it's trying.
Well,
It's like
I'm gonna
holding a
ask for
magnet against the field that it's
yeah,
trying to orient to.
like, guys, this thing wants to point a certain way. What do I do? What do I do?
Let it. I
Let
want
it.
to see what it points to.
It's really
I'll
gross.
hold your
Okay,
hand. So
I'll just let it.
Okay. As soon as you do, a new tremor starts rumbling further. The whole rest of the room shifts to look like you are back in the box where, you know, the landscape, like the train car was, but now you see the train car like hanging half out of the ceiling, and the landscape, like every wall is showing the landscape moving by, but in a different direction, and it's very disorienting, and the whole room is shaking further.
So should
Oh, I think it's
we
time to go.
go back up, like to the? Can we just get in the train car? Like I don't know what's going on. How? What do we do?
Is there any place to
I'm gonna
go?
look at the smart one.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Vertigo
so
there.
quick question too. Um, as established when you did your detect magic, Vertigo, you saw that there was the fancy stone with the runes on it and the
Mhm.
fancy belt.
Mhm.
Are those just, did you leave them just sitting where they were, or?
Oh, they would have gone into the bag.
Okay, well, so I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
what had been. So what about all the piles of coins and stuff?
I probably when as he was doing the detect magic, he was just sort of shoveling a few in here and there, kind of idly. Those precious gems that Garland had pointed out, he would specifically grab those ones.
Okay.
But Vertigo's never been all that interested in money. He just sort of feels like, oh, I think I owe Bear this much, and I think they also owe them this much, and just kind of not paying much attention to it because he's concentrating mostly on the spell.
Okay.
could I, well, after Lynn takes over, could I just sort of like put the tower down and open the door and just shove some gold into the tower?
Remembering that, like, you've got your fellow train passengers hanging out in there.
Don't
Yeah.
you also
Just-
have a bag of holding?
Well,
You have a backpack, right?
I have a backpack, but not a bag of holding.
Oh, because I thought you had Nedry like put a ward or something or
Yeah,
password
you
on
do
it.
have a
That was
Yeah.
on. It was on wasn't it just a regular backpack, and we put that on there in case you tried to reach into it to get something without. I don't remember why.
it's been a
It was a
while.
long time ago. It was like a bird
I
password.
thought it was
that's all I
the
know.
handy haversack. You have one of those that has all small pockets, but they're small pockets of
Um,
holding.
I think that Chooch had something like that, but I don't think I ever did. I just had a regular old backpack.
I mean, I might be able to dig up the records of the password for that that bag.
I
It's been a
have the
while.
password, but
so you're just shoving gold into there.
yeah, just like
All right.
I
Well,
think-
so I mean, the rest of the room is doing what I described. So tell me if you are changing your approach at all.
I'm looking
she's
for
doing
a way
that
out.
while she was getting the wand out of the body. That's when I was doing that. But now I will get up.
Vertigo is
Meanwhile, I'm just
trying to
standing there like the Statue of Liberty, going, "Guys, what do we do? Guys, what do we do?"
Is the wand like you're letting it go free? Is it pointing in a particular direction? Does it seem like it's pointing at the car or anything like that? Vertigo will be trying to
No,
figure out if
it
that's
feels like it feels very much like a very powerful magic magnet, where it knows what it thinks, you know, its magnetic north is, and it wants to be in that orientation.
Okay.
But as you hold it there, as you let it hold there, you suddenly find that like everything else seems to be destabilizing. Not that
So-
it wasn't before, but it seems to have accelerated as soon as you let it be in that.
So when we look at the room and we see the mid transformation of the room into that cave where the train car is that at a different level, higher or lower, or just over at the
So-
other end?
Imagine that you are now in a rectangular box that is something like, 50, 60 feet across in either direction and maybe 40 feet high. But what the train car, you see it sticking half out of the ceiling, like end down.
At the moment, all I can suggest is moving closer to that because that was closer to the entrance. If you see anything that looks like an entrance, or rather an exit, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to move you there.
Maybe
When-
you
when
should
you
point it
say
away
end
from where it
down-
wants to go.
When you say end down, does that mean like one of the doors is like above us?
Yeah, so like
Okay.
if you take the train car, you turn it up on its end vertically and then stick it half into the ceiling. That's what it looks like.
Well, I think we need to go in there. It's kind of where we came from, right?
If we move over, can we look up through the train car?
Yes.
How far how high is it?
It's about 25 feet off the ground.
And do we see anything beyond the end of the train car? Is it just solid
When
stone where it
you look
intersects?
into the train car, what you see through the train car is the far end of the train car with the door closed.
I'm gonna grab Zaleen and I'm gonna dimension door into the train car.
Okay, sure. As soon as you are up in there, you suddenly find that the gravity that you are feeling in the train car seems normal for what you would expect if the train car was oriented right. So basically, as you step through, suddenly gravity has switched to being like 90 degrees off of what it was. But this strange wand still wants to be in what it thinks is the right orientation. And so it's going to basically like it's going to sort of try to twist out of your hand. So please make a dexterity saving throw.
Guidance.
I don't think the guidance works
I
here.
don't think I
This
need
is
it.
happening too quickly.
25.
Okay,
I'm good.
25. Sure. Yeah, so you manage to hold on to it, but suddenly you are in what feels like a right side up train car looking out through one of the doors at everyone else who now seem to be oriented 90 degrees away from you.
I'm gonna.
Well, I was gonna
fly it.
offer to just toss
Oh.
down a rope.
Well, I can fly.
Yeah, but
Open the
Vertigo
door.
can't.
Yeah. Yes, he can.
He can.
If he's got the spell slot.
Yeah, he has fly.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
well, I will
I mean,
open the
he's
door.
also a little guy. I think Zinhorn could carry him.
I
I'm
can
currently
grab.
yelling at
Open the door.
I grab him and fly up.
Okay.
I mean, I'm holding on to this wand, so I'm like trying
Alright.
to.
So I think suddenly there is another so I think all of you are able to fly up to be in the train car now. And as each of you enter it in the same way, you find that the gravity now feels like it's oriented along with the train car. And there's another tremor, and you feel the train car lurch under you. And now it seems like it is in a completely different spot in this room, and all of the walls and floor and ceiling doing their landscape thing are glitching out. Some of them, like one of them is showing like a snowscape, one of them is showing rain, and it seems like it's completely falling apart. And you realize also that this box that it was in is half the size it was a second ago.
Open the door.
Can I go?
I think this whole
can I go
place is
toward
going to
the door?
collapse.
No, so I thought, yeah, like, so all of you are now in the train car, right? You came through
Mhm.
the door that was exposed before. So you're saying
And
to go through the other door.
Other
open
door.
it at least, yeah.
Okay. So that's where you're headed. Yeah.
I
You
just
Yep.
follow everybody
I don't
else
know what's
trying
going
to
on,
wrangle
so I'm-
this
So
wand.
you all make your way to that end, and you realize that the door won't open unless the other door is closed.
Mage
I'll
hand,
yell
close
back
the
over
door.
my shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the mage hand is not strong enough, and
Ah.
just the ordinary door, like if was the regular train car, it should have been strong enough because it's not a heavy looking door, but your mage hand just doesn't budge it at all.
It's not strong enough.
Everything
needs to do
lurches
that.
again, and the box that is this whole place apparently is now barely big enough to hold the part of the train car that you're in.
Zinhorn, close the door.
I run and close the door.
Make an athletics check.
Is there a window in the door, by the way?
No, the door does not have a window. There are windows on the sides of the train car, but not on the doors. A 1.
Which is a 4, but still, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that what happens here is you are struggling to pull this door, and it's really resisting you. Like it is unnaturally heavy, and something like forcing it, holding it open. And as you are struggling, you manage to pull it up about halfway, and then you lose your grip, and it pulls you out with it, and you are sent tumbling into the wall of the rest of this room. And suddenly it compresses again, and you realize you are stuck outside along the side of the train car, and the other door is no longer like exposed. You can see everybody through the window, but everything's sideways, and you can't get back to the door, and you really only have about 5 or 6 feet to move around in.
Not that way.
Now the open door that all of you see from the train car is just open to what looks like just a howling void.
Someone
Blast the door off, and he'll point and draw at Zinhorn, lasso him with the air, and cast. I was going to call it Yoink, Vortex Warp to
Okay.
bring him into the area.
All right.
See, now there needs to be a power word yoink
Power word Yoink.
power
to go with
word
power
going.
word
Uh,
yeet.
so-
Fourth level spell.
Well, I was going to say power word yeet is a homebrew spell
That's true.
created by
That's the other way, though.
Well,
That's the-
it's created all credit to Nobilis, who created that for another game that I play in, but so it's in my homebrew items here, and it's very silly. But yes, yoink feels like the counterpart to yeet.
Yep.
So
I'm-
certainly, yeah.
I'm
that
going to try blasting it off with the guiding bolt.
yeah, the vortex warp does bring you back into the train car. You
Okay.
have a howling void on one end, closed door on the other. And
Uh,
you're
Where'd
trying
it
to
go?
blast open
Try-
the closed one. Is that what you're doing?
I think it's
Um,
time to open the gate.
What happens if I just move the wand? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've been letting it be in the orientation it wants so far, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to turn it just a little bit.
Okay, so do you just you're just doing it in kind of an arbitrary direction?
Yeah, probably just like this, just a little bit.
Okay. Suddenly, as you do that, the gravity that you're all experiencing in this room shifts to orient with what you've held. So like where you move it to, now the bottom of it is pointing to what down is gravity. So everyone make a dexterity saving throw as gravity suddenly lurches under you.
I had to try it. Oh,
And
11.
12.
oh wow, 10, 11, 12, and 12.
Okay, I think that's enough that you're jostled but not knocked prone. You don't take any damage. It's like it's unnerving, but there's no other problems. But you've certainly discovered that that had an effect, and you see that the walls are now pressed up against the outside of the train car, and you can see the glass starting to like get little stress cracks in it.
I think you're right, Zaleen. It should work properly this time. A pocket dimension, so everybody stand close.
And he'll
Alright.
touch the stone and invoke the Midnight Stone's gate ability.
Okay. And
Aiming for the I guess the material plane. I think it does have that one space
Yeah,
to go to.
I'm sorry in advance if this bounces.
okay.
I'm still new to this.
Yeah, so I think you are all able to travel through that gate, and like so when you like, where were you targeting it to?
Let's see, where would he have been thinking of? Probably destination would have been the temple, because that's where he wants to be. So the temple near Emersham. I don't know how accurate it would be.
Mhm. Well, here, let's see. I'm looking at the spell. You can to a precise location on a different plane of existence. So so you know that temple. You've been there before. Inside the temple, outside the temple,
Outside.
outside. Like so, out in the front outside part of it.
Yeah, where that beach was, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I think you know what? Have go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Dirty 20.
There you go. Yeah, I think it goes just exactly to where you want. You all watch this circular opening portal created right there in the train car, and through it on the other side you see that beach where it looks like it's kind of a cloudy, overcast day, and it's sort of spitting rain a little bit, but you hear the surf through it, and you can see the sort of the arches that surround the temple itself, and off to one side you see the big statue that's at the entrance.
Drew, now.
Let's go.
Hauling
Alright,
ass.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yes. So as you attempt to go through, Carolina, you're holding this staff, and as you are trying to pass through the portal, it's resisting. So if you want to try to pull it through the portal with you, it's going to take a strength check. Athletics if you have it, but just strength if you don't, because it's trying to not go through.
Well, we'll give it a shot
All right.
because I.
You know what?
have,
I'll let you
half-
roll with
half
advantage
proficiency.
because you are aware that it's been kind of loosey-goosey in your hand, and it's been trying to do stuff before, so you would be holding it
Guidance.
tight. It wouldn't catch you off guard.
With
Let's see
guidance.
what we get.
I think this is happening too fast. You wouldn't have expected to need to do this.
So 16.
Okay. Yeah, I think you are able to pull against its resistance and bring it out with you. And so you are you find it sort of pulled free of whatever that force was, and you are all now standing on the solid but sandy ground there at the beach, and you are watching now through the portal, no longer feeling the tremor beneath your feet, but watching the interior of the train car start to get crunched in like it's in a hydraulic press.
Oh boy, that was close. Well done.
I think Vertigo's just staring through the portal, kind of like,
Oh, okay. And then,
kind of observing and studying
Oh,
it to the
you're
last
leaving it
moment.
open?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone make a dexterity saving throw.
Four.
We are not good at those.
Nope, nope, nope.
until Lynn, because
All right.
Yeah.
15.
Okay, so everyone who didn't roll at least a 12 is going to take 12 thunder damage as it explodes through the portal as this thing is crushed. And I think anyone who takes that damage is knocked backwards 10 feet as well.
All right.
is there
And-
Good
damage
thing
from
we
being knocked
healed
back?
Zaleen.
And then I think like, does that put anybody in a problem situation? Anyone? Is it just okay? So I think as that happens, the gate spell dissipates, and I think you recognize, Vertigo, that it's because the place that the other side of the portal was does not exist anymore. It was a demi-plane of sorts, and it is gone. There is no such place anymore. There's no way for the portal to be there.
Everybody gets 11 hit points back.
Yeah, I think Vertigo looks kind of up at it, kind of leaning up. Start to realize that he's very badly wounded, and just kind of quirks an eyebrow.
Oh. Well, we've really got to stop closing these portals on our way out. It's disruptive. And I had a few more questions.
All right, you get 15 points back.
Realizing where we are, could I scan the horizon for the adversary?
Sure. Make a.
Would that be investigation or perception?
I feel like investigation would be if you're taking some time to thoroughly search. If you're just like looking around, that would be perception.
Okay, I'm just kind of looking around.
Perception.
26.
Ah, yes, that's pretty good. He is nowhere in sight. You know, that does not rule out the possibility that he could be inside or hiding somewhere else where he would just have total cover. But, you know, you're pretty sure he's certainly not standing anywhere that you could just look at him. You don't spot him like peeking out from behind a rock or anything like that. You do not see any evidence whatsoever that he is in the area. Just
Wow.
the sort of, as I mentioned, you're all getting a little bit damp because it's kind of spitting rain and you know, the surf, and I guess it's a little hard to tell because it's overcast, but maybe at a quick guess you would suppose it's mid-afternoon or something.
I need a long rest.
Maybe
Yeah, I don't think we're in any condition to face off with what's his
Mm-mm.
name.
No,
really sure what his name is, honestly.
I'm not. No, Percival.
Percival
Cankers.
Cankers.
No, he didn't seem to know that or react to that name. Maybe he just left it behind, I suppose. I wonder if he's here.
I'll cast locate creature.
Okay. Let me think. No, I don't think it would ping.
I don't sense him nearby, but Could be
How's
just out
that
of
for an
range.
evasive DM answer?
Yeah.
I don't think it would ping.
he may be able to hide from it. But I'll keep focus on it anyway.
So, how about that tower? And we still got some friends in there that probably want to know what's going on.
Mhm.
I mean, they might think we're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tower sounds like a good option.
So had you actually shoved the gold in through the tower, or did you use your bag?
I've pushed gold right into the door of the tower, so
Okay.
when we go inside, there's gonna be like a big puddle of gold that we trip over. Unless the people came and got it. But I don't know.
So I think do you make an effort to put the tower somewhere specific before you go all inside, leaving it unattended?
Certainly out of sight of the temple.
Yeah, like
and,
how?
and
Well, I mean, can't you just make it big and then like nobody can get in, right?
Nobody can get in, but somebody could pick it up if it was small.
right.
So,
That's why I was
is
like,
there
make it
room
big.
enough to make it big?
I mean, you would have to like move away from where the temple entrance is a little bit, but you could find a spot. Like on the beach would probably not be ideal long term because the sand is not really stable enough to support a tower, but I mean it would hold for a while. You know,
Okay,
overnight's
I don't
probably
think
not
we
an
would-
issue.
Yeah, I don't think we would leave it longer than that.
Hmm.
So I will make the tower big.
Okay. All right. So I think as you enter, the gold is not just piled in the threshold, but you see that your fellow passengers have picked it up from the floor and set it on the table in that first floor, waiting room. And is that all of it, or is some in their pockets? Well, I suppose you would have to ask them. It seems like about right. But they see you there, and as you may or may not recall, you've got a human man, Maxwell. You've got a dragonborn woman named Gansha, and an elf woman named Desiel. And so they look at you and say, "So, everything going according to plan?"
We hope you want to go
Safe.
to Emerson because that's where we are.
Oh, wonderful. At the train station, or?
No.
Not exactly.
I didn't take the
Mm.
train last time I was here, so I didn't really know where that was.
But we're at the Temple of Marushka, so you could walk up to
I think don't they need a boat
town.
to go back?
You took a ferry that
Yeah.
was a couple of hours last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could swim back to Emerson. I don't know.
I
mean,
Probably wouldn't do that.
Mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I think what you're seeing on all of them without needing to make any kind of an insight check is the complicated feelings of an ordinary person who recognizes that their life has been saved and they're enormously grateful, and yet now they have to actually deal with the part where they've been inconvenienced with their normal life and they have to figure out how to get back to it. And so they're grateful, but also kind of like, I don't, we still need help. We don't know what to do from here.
Well, we can definitely give you some money for the ferry because that was just
It's,
you shouldn't have had to mess with any of this. Like this was not. It was just a really bad situation.
what,
Yeah.
was it?
The pocket dimension that we were in is gone. We killed the thing that caused it.
Oh,
No, he was nasty. Ooh.
Oh boy, was he nasty. Oh, have I got a
Elaine
story
died.
to tell
She
you?
died. She's okay now, but she died.
She got
I got
better.
better.
I brought her back. Well,
the-
she wanted to come back.
The
but
man
yeah.
is like, I guess it was really great that you let us stay in here, because that sounds awful. So thanks. Do you know when the ferry's coming?
We remember like what time we got the ferry before.
Well, I think we had to charter
Yeah,
part of it
you
because it
did.
doesn't normally stop
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you know, I
Well,
think
we
what
I
you
could contact the person that
Mhm.
brought us out here before.
Yeah, what you remember is that there are ferries that go up and down the coast pretty regularly, but they usually only stop here if someone requests it. But it also means that if they went and stood out on the beach, probably eventually a ferry would come by and be close enough that they could wave it down. But usually a
any of
ferry wouldn't
those-
stop here by default. There's not like a dock where they can wait with a schedule posted.
Could we
Do
like
we have
test
any of
sending?
those? Well, I was gonna see if we have any of those like those papers that just go.
Oh, I
I
do,
don't
Write
but
a message
they
and you-
take their own route, and sometimes it takes a while. It's good for regular communication,
mean-
correspondence, but not really great for a quick communication.
Don't you guys have a sending stone to talk to you, Bear?
Well, first of all, Ivy has that now.
Oh,
I have regular sending.
I do too, but I can't use it until tomorrow.
I mean,
I'm
we can signal
trying
the ship if we see
to-
one.
Let's see. Yeah, I still have the spell slots for it. Who was it? The person that we met in that tavern that was talking about the temple? Was it him? Was he our ferry operator?
Well, recall, if you will, that that person betrayed you because it was a trap. You were ambushed upon your arrival.
Did we know that though? Like there were people here and they were trying to get into the temple, but
What
Did that
what
guy know
about
that?
that?
Remember,
What about
because
that
you
sailor?
basically what you had done is you signed on to be part of an expedition to excavate the temple, but that expedition was a ruse.
So what about the
Right.
sailor that we met in the tavern
Hmm.
that used to come out here all the time, but he
Yeah.
stopped? Like,
yeah,
we could
that's what I was
message
thinking
him
of.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember too that without having specifically created them as named NPCs, you guys hung around and you did the beach festival. You know a bunch of people. So I think we don't necessarily have to decide on a specific name. I think if you can contact them, you know people who could send a ferry.
Right. So I would probably step outside the tower to do that so
Because
that it
you're
would definitely
the
work.
heroes of Emersham. You say you fought the dragon armor thing and you saved everyone.
and I won the contest.
Yeah, so people know you. So the point is that if you have the ability to cast sending, you know people who could send a ferry. And it would still like be a couple of hours before you could get here, but I think that can be arranged.
What if they crawled over in the Crabaratus?
That would take longer.
It
But then
would
the
still be
Crabaratus would
awesome.
be here though. So
Yeah, let's not.
I like
All
the
right. So I'm going to step outside and I'm going to do that. And
Okay.
I'll get an estimate of arrival and everything. It's like, okay,
yeah.
we've arranged the transportation.
let's go ahead and say that it is it's a very chill, bubbly hobgoblin lady named Janie that you remember from that whole thing, and she runs a ferry, and so that's who you have coming. And she just says, "Okay, yeah, that sounds cool. I'll see you in a little bit."
Thanks so much.
All right, so that's arranged. They're going to be a few hours out. You'll know that like when that time comes, they'll have to like leave the tower and be standing out there for them to see. But the boat knows that they're coming to here.
Knock 3 times on the tower when you get here.
I mean, you'd have to cast again and to say that.
Oh well. All
This
right.
might help.
So I have to pay attention to time because
Well,
we're not
they
going
do.
to
We're
be in
not
charge
leaving.
if you miss it. Exactly. We're not in charge if you miss your bow. We're not at fault.
Yeah, Gansha just kind of says, "I think we can manage that much. You've done a tremendous lot to help us all. You saved all our lives. through extraordinary circumstances, and it does seem quite possible that we were only in danger because someone was trying to capture you, but you certainly did anything that anyone could have asked to help us and make sure we stayed safe. So thank you tremendously.
Well, I 100% am taking a few of the coins that we got that they stacked on the table, and it's like, here's your fare, and here's your fare, and here's your fare.
Nice.
And this
oh.
might help you catch the attention of the ship if you need it.
And so from the bag, Vertigo will extract a wand with a little sparkly tip on the end.
It doesn't really require much in terms of fancy words, but I find with these it often is useful to exclaim loudly and point it to the sky.
And it's the wand of pyrotechnics that he's had for a
Oh,
while.
very nice. I think before she leaves, this Dragonborn lady goes over to you, Zinhorn, and has written something on a small piece of paper, and it just says, "If you do make your way over to Emershem, the resort is called Wormershem. You know, spelled like WIRM. It's a whole bit, but I'll be there to the end of the week if you make your way over there."
I would. I'm gonna try. I am definitely gonna try. We got some hero business to deal with first.
If
But
you've never seen a dragonborn blush, there you go, because that's entertaining.
I like I've got some hero business, to attend to, but I'll be totally there after that. I mean, after my hero business.
yeah,
So yes, I think that you know what, I think just for convenience sake, they're ready to be kind of out in the fresh air a little bit, so they volunteer to. I guess they ask you if it's safe for them to wait outside.
Maybe,
We don't know.
but probably
It's
I
raining
don't know.
though, so not very comfortable.
Well, I mean, I guess we just didn't want to presume.
I mean, you
Like,
can hang
welcome
out
to
here.
stay.
Just
Well, I think we.
you know.
All right, we'll do that then.
Maybe
It just it
Zinhorn,
felt like there was a moment where we were sort of being like it felt like we were leaving, and now we're kind of hanging out for a moment. It's a little awkward, so
No.
it's just like
Yeah.
I
We're just really tired.
I
Sorry.
Sure.
I would say wait until we're closer to ferry time.
we
Cut.
could go inside the temple. It's safe in there, right?
No,
No.
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 Oh.
no.
Maybe Zinhorn,
No.
Buster would like to go for a walk. That might be a little bit better accompaniment if.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like you could take them and Buster and just like walk them down to.
Yeah, but we'll wait
Yeah.
until it's like within half an hour of.
If you wanted to talk privately, we could just go upstairs or something.
Actually, I think
No.
I'm gonna go to bed. I'm exhausted.
I've got some studying to do.
I'll hang out with you guys, and when it's closer time, Buster and I'll escort you down to the river. And in the meantime, I'm gonna talk to this Dragonborn lady and learn more about her.
All right. Do you wanna role play that out, or were you just imagining we sort of fade out on chit
We
chat?
just fade out on the chit chat.
All right. Because we could do it if you want. But yeah, so otherwise you're gonna just start rest and wait until they're gone before any other business. Is that the idea?
Yeah,
mean-
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, you all tell me. I mean,
Yeah.
you
taking a
know
long
that
rest?
like you are in a place that at least seems safe for the moment. Although you also know this is where the adversary said to meet him, so might be in the area somewhere.
Are we taking a long rest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I do have studying to do, but I will. want
Yeah,
to
I'm
sleep
not
at
going
some
to
point.
sleep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if that's what we were planning.
Yeah, because
Um,
I'm like I have no spell slots left, almost none. Like the
What
first and
are-
second.
The rules of having been dead. if you're brought back instantly? Do you have
with
like
Revivify,
exhaustion or anything like
there's no lingering impact. You come back at
Okay.
1 hit point, but that's it. Raise Dead has more lingering effect, but that's only if you were gone longer.
Okay.
In the interim, one of the things that Vertigo is doing is ritually casting Identify on all three of those things.
Okay.
If Lynn will let the wand out of her hand for a moment. If the wand will
Oh, I
let itself
completely
be out
forgot
of
I
her
was
hand.
still holding that. I was like, no, have it.
I just imagine
Please
you
take
like
this thing.
like a 3D character in a video game that's got the there's some point which isn't quite mapping properly, so the hand keeps raising up and just in random directions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Identify on the belt and the gem, I think it was.
Okay, hold on just a moment.
As well as trying to consolidate his notes.
Sure. I think that yeah, okay. So what you discover is that the belt is a belt of cloud giant strength. Which I believe is like I mean that's that's a beefy thing. So if you wear that, your strength and you're attuned to it, your strength becomes 27.
That's cool.
That is an incredibly powerful, valuable. That's a legendary class item. The other, the fancy looking crystal, is an Ioun stone, also legendary. It's the Ioun stone of mastery. And while you have it active, meaning when it's active and attuned, it is literally physically like floating around your head, like in the air. And theoretically, someone could try to grab it or target it with an attack and that sort of thing. But while attuned to it and it's floating around you like that, your proficiency bonus increases by 1, which obviously affects all sorts of things like, attack bonuses and skill checks and saving throws for certain saving throws and spell save DCs, etc. So those are both obviously very powerful items. And then the wand, I don't have it made up as like a homebrew item now, but basically what it is it is there's a you know what? I'm just going to say as it is. I'm going to simplify this instead of trying to make it extra complicated. Just use the stat block for what's called the hither thither staff, but it's yeah, but it is it looks like what I described, and it is a wand and not a staff. So I just don't have like the the cosmetic of it. But what that does is it has 4 charges and recharges 1d4 expended charges daily. As an action, you can expend a charge to create 2 linked teleportation portals, kind of like Dimension Door, but within 1,500 feet of yourself. And you don't have to have one of them at you. You can put them anywhere you want. You can also spend a second charge to move one or the other of them. The surface it has to be on a surface. It can't be in midair. But it basically just links those portals. And you can also put a portal on a moving surface. But if the portals move more than a mile apart, it disappears. And so you've got a portal gun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That now all we need is some cake.
Yeah. The
Cake
other
is a
thing
lie.
I'll say is that the default item, the hither thither staff item, as says right there, not that does not say it requires attunement. This one does.
Okay.
Also, I think what you realize in casting the identify of it is that this is not a traditional magical item in the sense that someone enchanted a wand to have these properties. It somehow is like how some in the same way that the Overmind claimed to have dreamed himself into existence, this somehow feels like it worked almost like a seed crystal. It was a powerful locus of magic that existed somewhere, and the creature sort of constructed himself around it through some kind of an extraplanar will and shaped it as a result. So it probably wasn't a wand like this before, but it is now, having been inside this creature. And although you don't note that it has any like specific mechanical elements of that, I think you are nonetheless aware this is not a traditionally created magical item. It came into existence being inside the brain of that Overmind creature, which means that it could have some unpredictable qualities. But it is not nightmare corruption in the way that you've come to understand it. It's a very unusual. I think you recall that there have been journal properties written about the theoretical possibility of this happening, but to your knowledge, no one has ever written up actually finding one.
I think that Vertigo will spend the rest of the evening writing up a paper on it, kind of intending it for a Tacitem submission.
Yeah.
And as has not happened for a while, will be found slumped over his book, completely asleep midway through a note.
Just a quick question. Is anyone here familiar with the concept of Boltzmann brains?
No.
So this is a very weird thing that I'm not going to spend too much time on because it's a little hard to explain. It's a very strange sort of hypothetical, theoretical element of like philosophical quantum physics. Because essentially in quantum physics, there's always, it's all about probability, right? And so there's always the theoretical probability that some particles sort of just pop into existence. And in principle, if it's possible for particles to just spring into existence, then it's theoretically possible, if, exponentially more unlikely, that complex shapes could spring into existence in the same way that a single particle does. And so there's this idea that, like, what if, like, an intelligent creature just sprung into existence spontaneously through the quantum physics probability. I'm probably explaining it badly, but what I was trying to get to is feels like it. The theory goes that this is like the magical equivalent of that. Is that in principle, because magic follows certain organizational shapes, usually you have to like specifically craft it along those lines, but in principle, raw magic could be shaped by a consciousness at the same time that the raw magic is creating that same consciousness. So technically, like, they created each other.
I think that there's
So
a
like
parallel.
a snake eating its own tail.
There's a parallel on the sheet that on the book he's writing his notes on, which is like this conversation on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of skips back and forth between the two of them with the assertions and kind of comparisons to Dinotherian magic as well, and its generation, and kind of he's working on a grand unified theory of magic at this point.
Mm-hmm. So I think the The other thing is if you count the gold, you have the equivalent of 500 gold pieces, and that includes like the silver and copper you found, but then also 80 platinum. And then of course I mentioned the diamonds already.
Yep. I'm gonna take the 3 diamonds.
Well, so there was
no,
the
2
there
diamonds.
was 2 diamonds and 7 other gemstones
Other
that
gems.
were worth
Right.
500 gold each, but are not diamonds.
Right.
Yeah.
Zaleen, do you have enough diamonds in case you have to bring somebody back?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I
Um,
have 3.
Okay. I would like uh, the Cloud Giant Strength belt. If that's okay with everyone, it means I won't be able to see in the dark anymore. But I
Part of
seem
me is
to
kind of
wind
like,
up in fights.
yeah. I also have a +0 to my strength, so
Uh, so yeah, I have a +3 naturally, so I'm okay if you want to have it. Are you gonna get
let
in
me see.
closer and fight?
Going from +0 to
Well,
+8 is pretty good.
Yeah,
but that one requires attunement.
Yeah.
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 My slots are filled, so oh well.
Yeah, I mean, my slots were filled too, and I'm gonna give up the dagger of blind sight.
It's of no real use to me, and I've always looked at you as being the stronger one anyway. Although Lynn is usually the better one in combat.
um yeah, I'm fine with that. Jenny, how are you? Because you tend to be like front and center with the fighting also.
I have 0 for my strength, but I don't use a lot of physical combat. So I think Zinhorn can have it.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Sinhorn is now going to perform feats of strength.
Yeah, so I think
Start juggling.
if you take the time to go ahead and attune to it, I think like it's dramatic. Like you don't suddenly become clumsy with it or anything, but I just mean like you recognize now that like if you wanted and went outside, you could probably just like push the tower over. Like you are incredibly strong now. If you think about a cloud giant that is 30 feet tall, you are as strong as that now.
Very cool.
Right?
And I have a new lady friend.
Are we before we go to sleep, I want to talk to Lynn, so
Sure. So I would presume that as you're fussing with all of that, and there's maybe some incidental chit chat, but we assume that eventually your house guests catch their ferry and have left. So
Nothing happens when I walk them down.
well, I mean,
The ferry.
you escort them to the ferry. You
Yeah.
are not ambushed by the adversary
Okay, good.
yet.
she gave you her number, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
I
she
got the
can't vouch
digits,
yet
man.
for Wormersham being a good place. She's here to review it, but maybe it'll be really nice.
yeah. If we survive this encounter, maybe we'll have some time to hang out.
Bee chips.
What?
It's a beach episode.
Each episode, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think you are all at your, you know, you may do as you like. Your tower guests have left on good terms. They catch their ferry and they're you know grateful and they head out and you may do as you like. Tell me what that is.
First I'm gonna eat
Uh,
like 6 of those sandwiches. Are there any left, or did our guests eat them all? Did they eat all the food that Brennan sent with us?
I think they ate some, but they didn't take it all. Brennan packed you a lot of food.
Thanks, Dad.
Cool. I'm taking a long rest. I'm
Alright.
gonna
Yeah.
gonna lay down and curl up on the floor next to Buster.
All right.
Let's go.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So
And on Jenny.
I mean, so
All right.
it sounded like Vertigo and Zinhorn have turned in for the long rest. So
Once we go into the room and close the door, I'm just gonna sit on the edge of the bed and pat the thing for you to sit beside me.
So definitely doing that. Haven't really gone far from her side anyway. So because that was really scary.
I know. And I didn't have to come back, but I did. For you. And Nedrigo and and Zinhorn and what we have to do, but mostly for you. Because I love you and I want you to understand that there may come a day when I am done here. And if I have to go, it's not because I don't love you.
I know, and thank you for coming back because I don't. When that time comes, I think we should at least be able to say goodbye. But I'm not ready for that yet.
Even if I do have to go, I want you to know that I'll always be with you in some way or another.
Well, for sure, when you go, you definitely will be taking a piece of me with you.
I'd like that. I just hope it's not a part of you that prevents you from living the best life that you can.
Well, I think no matter what, even if you go first, I will be better for having known you. For however long that I get to have you.
I'm so grateful for all of you that I got to experience this and be alive. And I don't want to go, but I know that someday I do have to.
Yeah. We do all of these dangerous things, but I don't think it really hit me until today that, you know, just how dangerous these things are.
Definitely
Just-
not invincible.
No. And if I've learned anything from, listening to your what was
Proselytizing.
that's the word. It would be that death is not, it is an end to one thing, but it's not necessarily bad. And it's a comfort to know that you would be going somewhere peaceful. Just not today.
It was a hard decision to make, even though I care so much about you. To know that I could rest and let go of all these things that plague us. But I would rather go through all of this with you than just walk away.
Well, like I said, I'm glad you came back because I don't know how much of this we could get through without you. I mean, all of us, yes, but me specifically, I think we all bring things to the table, and I can't imagine doing this without you.
Well, hopefully you don't have to. To the end.
To the end.
And I walk away.
You're not going anywhere.
I haven't said that in a while.
Fade to
Just
black.
re-listened to yeah, I just re-listened to the end of campaign 1, and every single time Jenny would say, and I walk away, and I had forgotten about it, and just cracks me up.
I suppose we can just go ahead and let you all get your long rest. And did you decide who was going to take the other items?
Nope, but anybody wants them.
What was so it was the
It's Ion
The
Stone
belt?
of Mastery.
Yeah, so Zinhorn has the belt.
Mhm.
The Ion Stone of Mastery increases your proficiency bonus by 1, which makes you basically better at all of the things you're already good at.
Wow.
sounds pretty all right. And having just refreshed my memory, um, Lynn would definitely know that was something that Amethyst had. The Heroes of Legend.
I think she
So
had a
as
different
soon
one,
as-
but an Ion Stone.
Probably,
yeah.
but as
Mhm.
soon as Nedry or Vertigo would have said, Ion Stone, like she would have like lit up like,
Mhm.
oh, I want that. I want to be like my heroes.
Oh, them again. Well, it will help. With just about everything, I think.
Yep.
So I would have to. I've got my Ring of Mind Shielding, which was helpful like in the Feywild, but I can probably let that go. So, if there are no, like, if somebody else wants it, like, I'm not married to it or anything. So,
Everything that
Yeah.
I'm attuned to, I really can't let go of. Like one of them's a weapon, the other one's the tower key, and the other one is my shadow skin. So I really just like
Mhm.
when it comes to things I have to attune to, like, nah, I'm good.
I mean, how often do you use the weapon?
I just used it to cut open that that guy.
That's true. I don't know. I mean, all of you decide. So I'm just saying.
And I also used the pass without a trace from it too when we
That's
were
true. Yeah.
creeping through the thing. So
So does that mean you want the staff, Vertigo?
Oh, I can't use it.
Why not?
I have enough magic as it is.
And 3 attuned items that I can't really get rid of. So
that's the problem with attunements.
Well, so what I'll also just say is I can practically guarantee you that with the creative use, this staff is more.
oh, it's not that it's not tempting, but I can't get rid of Iselda's bag. I can't get rid of the Midnight Stone, and I can't get rid of Protective Verses. So it's really like I use all of those a lot. So
This is like it's the burden of giving us such great stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Like we're all like, I want all of it, but
Yeah. Now
I
what I
mean-
need is extra attunement slots.
yeah,
I
they
want an
need to
item
make
that
a
gives
magical
additional-
item that gives you extra slots.
Have to be a high level artificer for that.
So, if I were having to choose, because that wand is pretty cool, and I did have to fish it out of a dead
Mhm.
beholder.
Yep.
It's extraordinary. Its creation is as extraordinary as its ability. It shouldn't exist beyond theory. The
Mhm.
fact that it very much exists is, well, sort of a testimony to the fact that the universe is far stranger than anybody really has a theory for.
So, the Ioun Stone is pretty cool, but like I already have half proficiency in literally everything right now. Anyhow,
Well, but the thing
Um,
is,
This raises your proficiency bonus, though.
it's going
So
to
that-
increase your proficiency by 1. So
Mhm.
the half proficiency, so like if you're proficient, like it's going to improve like well, I
Literally
don't remember
everything
what
for you,
what is
actually.
your proficiency score right
5
now?
right now.
so
Yeah, so it'll basically everything that you currently have like a +1 on, it'll be a +2.
It's a +1 bonus to everything you do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, everything
Right.
that you have, yeah, so like
well, she has half proficiency on
Mhm.
the things she's not trained
well,
in.
right, but
so-
I just mean even so like if your proficiency right now is +5, that means you're getting a +2 on all of those things that are half proficiency. But if this makes your proficiency score a +6, that means the half of it will be a +3. Not to mention the things that are right now +5 because of your full proficiency are going to be +6. I mean this is mechanically an extremely powerful thing.
right, but that
With that wand.
So-
wand that
If-
that could be so broken if used properly, which I don't know that I'm the best person for
The
that.
only
but-
possibility is that, I mean, the Midnight Stone is very important. I'm loath to give it up because we're traveling through a lot of different pockets. On a practical level, I can use the wand to great effect, but no one else should carry the Midnight Stone. I think one of us should.
I'm not volunteering for that one. Ooh, thank you.
If at some point we resurrect Rubino or bring him out of the diamond or whatever, we'll probably have to give him his stupid tower back. So then I would have an open slot. But until then, I mean, we kind of use it on a regular basis.
Mhm.
And I mean, in theory, I could take the spell, the next level we get. I could take the magic mansion or something. I forget what it is. There's a
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
I
if we did
mean-
have to give it up, that'd be fine. But yeah, I don't want to give up the tower right now.
I could always unattune my my Twilight skin. I mean, I don't use it as often as we used to. Like back in,
Mhm.
I think the last time I cast the tentacles was when we were in the Fey realm.
Yeah, you did it
So,
sort of like informally a couple of times when we were doing the Blades in the Dark stuff,
uh-huh.
right? But yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I've really used it. I just like that it gives me that cool
Oh, sure.
like shadow tendrils
Well,
on
I
my
think we
skin.
can certainly imagine that your look doesn't necessarily change. It's just like while you are sort of maintaining your magical connection to this thing, it disrupts your ability to use that effect, for example. That could be one way to do it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to play your characters for you. This is 100% all of your call. But there's a couple of you that I think are being silly for not switching out at least one of your things for this.
If
Personally,
you
but
want the
that's
wand,
me. That's me.
Starla, if you want the wand, I'll take the Iron Stone.
Yeah, because I
Or
can't. I'm not gonna let go of the Vidune deck or my mandolin because I use them both. Um, yeah, it's hard.
I know.
Sorry, I
Um,
didn't mean to give you such awesome magic items.
Damn you.
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I've already kind of. I got my bearings with the wand anyway, right?
That's if you want to, it's I'm good with that.
Yeah, I feel like that might be more worth it to me.
Mhm.
The wand. So is it the hither thither stuff?
Yeah,
Is
go
that
ahead and add that for now. I will make the homebrew version. So what I would say is, you know that what it looks like, so that instead of what it says, and it currently doesn't require attunement, but what I'm telling you is like this one that you have does. So just, make sure if you're using it, you have that open slot for it.
I don't know.
right?
I'm still not used to it, but um, Vertigo would have definitely used the glove on each of those things too.
Oh, okay. Sure. I think that the Iron Stone and the belt give you a narrative of a brave and heroic adventurer finding themselves stuck in a familiar labyrinth and making their way to the Overmind, where they valiantly fought it and fell and had their possessions added to the piles. Um, they are it to your, like, you don't recognize them in any way. So, but you get the general feeling that that was a long time ago by your reckoning. The and then I think that crystal, what you basically get is uh, a probably pretty revolting brief glimpse into the creation and formation and psychology of Xananox the Overmind. And it's basically just like, it gives you a brief but visceral sense of what it's like to be in that guy's head in both ways that you could interpret that.
Which I think would be for Vertigo very fascinating because he's
Mhm.
curious about how it did manifest itself,
Mhm.
and again goes into the grand unified theory of magic between, formulaic magic, chaos, Denetherian magic, how this thing came about,
Mhm.
self-willed magic. Yeah, gotta remember to touch everything with that glove.
All righty.
So, I think you are all able to complete your long rest. Those of you who have new things to attune to, you can have completed that. So just to recap, Zinhorn took the belt. Zaline is taking the Ioun Stone, and Caroline is taking the wand. So the Ioun Stone, when you attune to it, it is this small pale green crystal that sort of, when you attune to it, it actually does just sort of float nearby by your head and kind of just slowly kind of orbit. And you
You're
don't have to
now.
concentrate on it. It just kind of,
It's just there.
Yeah.
It's a part of me now.
like you could take it off, but like you could grab it and like put it down, and so it wouldn't be floating around you like that. But it will only work while it's floating around you like that. So. Da na 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 na. You went to bed at what seemed outside like it was maybe mid-afternoon. So, if you did a normal long rest, you would guess it's probably very early in the morning outside.
All
What would
right.
you like to do?
Did
So,
Vertigo, did he tell you specifically where to meet him?
Inside the temple was about all he really gave. I should be able to sense him if I'm careful.
anybody else getting trap from this? Like, I'm getting trap vibes here.
Oh yeah, this is a trap.
Well, sort of. I mean, it's not that it's not a trap, it's more that the adversary still needs this. And as much as the adversary tries to suggest that they know everything, I have a feeling that they're as much in the dark about some of these things as we are. Also, they know things that we don't, and I'd like to get that knowledge. So I would like to try to be academic about this, as long as we can.
All right. Well, I already said I'm going to follow your lead, but I cannot in all good conscience leave this guy alive.
Well, I will say this. Please remember what happened with Tanglefoot.
Mhm.
I mean, we need to be careful because we don't want him, if we can possibly avoid it, have him running loose and doing more crazy things than he's already done. I mean, he has the circlet, and we know what that can do firsthand. Who knows what else he has in his possession now?
And what his true motives are. I know what he told me, but something about it doesn't complete the circle. Hmm. One of the things I'm afraid of is that he'll harm the barrier that Talitha has in place now, and harm her in correspondence. There's also a question of allies. I know that they have questionable motives themselves, but it would be possible to have two very powerful Denetherians on our side. I hope. Or at each other's throats, or possibly, well, there's too many variables to really figure out.
Who are you talking about?
Rupino and
Trendinel.
Trendinel.
corpse.
Okay. Trendinel.
Trandinel the
So-
corpse.
here's
Mhm.
a thought. What if? Well, no, we can't really put. Do we think Rupino made the bag? or just
Uh,
the tower?
Well,
I'm
Zild
thinking
was
he
at
made
least in
both.
possession of the bag, whether
So
she
the-
made it or not.
The special bag that you've got, Isilda had. You don't know who made it.
You could use the glove, maybe? Would it tell you?
I never thought of that.
I think you've had it too long for it to tell you anything else about it.
I think maybe
Well-
it's changed hands too many times to really know its story anymore.
So my thought was that we take the diamond and we take the corpse and we go into the bag and we use the diamond on the corpse, shove the guy in one of the cages, shove the other guy in the other cage, and then work it out that way. That's all I got.
The only
Uh.
thing, my only reservation is that the dragon told us that there was nightmare energy on our corpse. So we will need to be prepared to deal with that.
We might be able to extract it.
Right.
Before,
But if he's in the cage, we can talk to him and maybe he'll just let us instead of fighting it. Because, like, he knows what the nightmare energy does. And I can't imagine, unless it's, like, taken hold to the point where he's like, no, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. You know, I don't know.
I mean, trust me that knowing a thing and truly understanding a thing aren't the same. You may know about that energy, but not really understand or even believe what it's doing to it. Or worse, that he can handle it.
I think it's time, though. I mean, we've been carrying them around for quite some time.
If anything, Tillitha should be able to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, we're here at the temple.
Yeah. Would be nice to bring back the guy from the Eternal Waltz. I really think he wants to.
He does
Leave.
He
not.
seemed like he would needed a rest. The man deserves it. He can just.
Yeah, but
He was
He
not
did
interested.
not want to leave the Eternal Waltz.
He came to me in a dream, and he was looking at me, and I could tell that he wanted to leave.
Really? I don't.
Yeah,
Was it really him, though?
I think
Yeah.
it was.
When did that happen? I don't remember you saying anything about this.
That was a while ago. I'm sure I said something about it.
No.
I mean, there might have been an assumption that because we did a scene on it and in the show that there's kind of like a default, like, well, the other players heard that. I don't know
Oh,
if we in character had you discuss it.
Oh, okay. Because like Zinhorn can't shut up about anything.
I was just going to say, like, I'll confirm for the players who don't remember that the Zinhorn did have that dream. Although I
That's so
think that there was
weird.
it was more of a sign of conflict. Like he had previously told you, no, I don't want to leave. In the dream, you sensed he was having ambivalent feelings about that, which is not quite the same as like I want to leave but can't for some reason. You know, it's more like he's questioning.
Like guilt.
Yeah.
He might need
Like
a
maybe
push.
I should be there with my friends and
Yeah.
finish what we started.
Or he misses home.
Yeah. I mean, it just
Yeah.
like all of you showing up there just was kind of a reminder. He had kind of allowed himself to forget for a long time.
Yep.
Huh. I can't believe he didn't ever say that out loud. That's crazy.
I can't believe I
Well,
didn't either.
Regardless, I don't know if it would be super easy to get back to that place. And if we did, I don't know that they would be particularly excited about us removing someone from there. So that
Well, I mean, we-
know.
could be a fight that we don't need.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be a good idea to consider it though. because
Well, I think we
then-
should handle the two that we've got first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they might even have ideas on how to do this.
I mean, there's still one of them we haven't met.
I know.
Well, two.
Well, one we sort of met indirectly.
Yeah.
Did we? Which one?
Somebody was trapped in there.
Well, the one that's your ancestor,
Right.
Hestia, I believe.
Yeah, we don't know where she is, but yeah, it's Ustok that we don't have any idea where they might be.
Maybe
But-
he's locked away somewhere, just like Trendinel was.
I mean, like I said, we've got the two. Maybe we should focus on that first. Worry about the rest later. So, but what do you think about my bag idea?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, remember they'll be in an anti-magic cell, so we won't be able to do any magic on them without letting them out, but at least we can get the
Right.
conversation started.
That. Which I think is important. Because we do a lot of
Okay.
sitting around and talking, so maybe we should just do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Or do we want to wait until whatever this adversary thing is? But I think we've got kind of a quiet moment. Nedry hasn't gotten any more messages quite yet, so
Well,
maybe
I think
now's the
it would be
time.
a good idea to do it before we go into the temple because Tillitha does need help.
and given our last direct encounter with the adversary, he is quite skilled at taking things from us.
Exactly.
And now he's got that circlet. So
Mhm.
And the
might be now or
amulet
never.
that he took.
And the amulet, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Might be now or never.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh, I don't like that I said that.
I like to go back in time and unattune from the iron stone and attune to the diamond. Because you have to attune to the diamond in order to use it.
Do
Really?
you?
Because it was
Do
a
you?
spell gem. Yeah, because
Oh.
we counted it as a spell gem.
Right. Well,
But
so
does
so
it not work like a scroll
well,
that you just like?
once you use it, it will go away, so you would no longer be attuned to it. But I guess it does
Yeah.
sound like you would have to attune to it in order to use it.
Yeah.
But then it would disappear, and you could reattune to something else,
Mhm.
but not instantly.
Does it disappear after you use it, or can you
The
reuse
diamond,
it to,
I
like,
think the
store
the
spell in it?
physical diamond will still exist, but it won't be a magical gem anymore.
Okay.
Big old diamond.
Yeah.
Well,
We
isn't
could
it
use it to
consumed in the use of
resurrect
the
somebody.
spell?
Hmm?
Isn't it consumed in
Um,
the resurrection spell?
No, I don't think so.
I'm
'cause
not
I
sure
remember-
because there was no
me-
card for it, so we just used the spell gem thing for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, hang on.
But the spell, it's well, I suppose you can pay the cost when you cast the spell. Put
The
it in.
gem can't once imbued with the
Right, like
spell.
so
Yeah.
let's see. The right. Okay. No, okay. So I think yeah. I'm just refreshing my memory of how I set this up.
I
Yeah, the spell gem diamond is a wondrous item. It's attunement, and then so I guess technically, yeah, it could be the gem could be re-imbued with a new spell once you use it.
if you had changed that because it had Rupino in it,
Well, there's two things happening at once here. One is the spell that imprisoned him, and it imprisoned him, quote, in a gem or gem-like object. And the object in which he is imprisoned is the spell gem, and so the contingency to release him is casting the spell out of the spell gem.
Now
Okay.
that both the player and the character have realized that he's wearing the stupid glove, he wants to go around touching everything. So the that gem is something that Vertigo would focus on to see if there's any history around
Mhm.
how it happened that Rupino was
Yeah,
trapped.
sure. Let's see. This is faint because it feels like it happened a long time ago. Um, but it is. Let's see. I'm trying to remember, like how we've been depicting this not like as literally seeing like a little TV show of events, but more just kind of like a psychic understanding of something, right? That's kind of how we've been.
I mean, I haven't
Portrait.
used it that much to.
Right.
to
So I think what you feel are some kind of thoughts and emotions. And what so and this is of the diamond, the spell gem, right?
Yes.
You feel some thoughts and emotions that feel very agitated and confused and angry and relieved, but like the thought that you can kind of pull out of it, even though it feels like someone who is kind of experiencing some not only strong emotions but just very substantial like disorientation, like they are influenced by something. But so like they like you almost imagine it being like if someone were like poisoned or drugged or something and not able to think clearly.
And that's the person who wielded the gem?
Well, so I'm not necessarily clarifying that yet, but
Okay.
this is what the gem gives you. But what you also pull out of the thought is good. I've got him. Now, how do I get out of here?
And as he's kind of digesting that, I think he'll also.
The house, the small golden building, the where we found Trendanel trapped. I might be able to tell something more about it too.
Yep. It's just there in the room with all the books on the table still. I don't think we ever moved it.
It was up on the third floor.
Yeah. So I think
Third, fourth,
that
something like
one,
that.
you get just a little bit of a. I think the primary like emotion and history that you sense there is by far dominated by Trandanel having been kept alive in the prison cell there, unable to escape for a long time. Before he got killed as a part of you guys being around and running around in there.
Whoops.
We'll fix them eventually. Okay.
But go ahead and make a like an intelligence check, Vertigo.
Intelligence? No skill or
History? Sure, history.
17?
I think what you get from that diamond is, in context with all the other things you know, is you think Trandanel used that to trap Rupino inside as part of what he was doing. And you suspect now that what he had done was pursued Rupino into that tiny auction house, trapped him in the gem, but then could not himself escape.
So, we've only really heard stories, a little bit from Talitha, but I feel like, while they disagree, I'm not sure that they hated each other. Neither tried to destroy the other, just trap them, prevent them from doing what they're trying to do. I do worry a little bit because whether it was a mistake or not, we did end up letting Tanglefoot go. And we'll face something similar here. But if we're prepared with our arguments and have backing information, a more or less solid idea of a plan, they may listen to reason or to Lynn.
I am pretty charming.
Counting on it.
So do we want to go in the bag?
It's probably the safest.
And with
That's-
Zinhorn
Yep.
being so strong, should not be a problem to just kind of boop, push him in the cage after we release him from the gem, right?
I would hope that that would work out well for us. I'll be ready.
I think as you're discussing this, there is a knock at the door. And Zaleen, as the current, owner of the key, you have not, permitted any new people to, to enter. So they don't come in knocking at the door. But someone has just knocked at the door.
Why don't we have magic videos that we could look out and see who it is?
You need a ring camera.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Crying.
A literal ring.
Wait,
Mhm.
wait. Maybe I don't know if it'll work. Hold on.
She actually has a ring camera.
Well, sort of. I have somewhere. Where are you? There it is. I have scrying with the with the Vidune deck.
Yeah?
Oh, I was thinking of your ring of true sight.
I had no. I had a ring of mind shielding. Is what I had.
Oh.
You're thinking of campaign 1 where I had the little. Ring
Well,
shield.
you do
maybe
have true sight, but it's not the ring. It's not.
Gotcha. Oh, right. It was the boon this
Yeah.
time. That's
mhm.
right.
Right. So I don't know that would allow me to see through anything though. But I have a
Also,
scrying
technically,
spell.
while you're in the tower, you are on a different plane
Right.
than the
Yeah.
material plane.
But you could
Mhm.
scry on the tower to see
Yeah, can
who's
I
at the
scry
Well,
on,
tower.
the
like-
outside of the tower is in a different
Yeah.
plane than you.
Right.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm reading the spell now.
Scrying specifically does say on the same plane of existence as you.
Hmm.
So we cast gate and put the gate outside to look.
There's
How
another
complicated
knock,
can we
like
make it?
bump, 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 more like annoyed.
Well, there's a very limited number of people that
Who
could be.
is it? Does that travel through the planes to the outside of the door?
I think you don't have any reason to assume that it wouldn't, but you don't get an answer.
Well, then I'm not going to open the door.
Maybe I should go outside.
I mean, I
Or
can
maybe
open
we
the
could
door,
just
but he can't
crack
come
open the
in, right?
door.
Can we look through the door? I thought we tried that before.
I mean, you
Yeah, we
can
did.
open the doorway. I think if the door is open, like your control over who comes in is basically who will the door open for. Like who will the door transport. But if you just
So if you
open
tried
the
to walk
door and
through the
it's
door-
physically open, anyone could walk through it.
Oh. Yeah, let's not do that.
I could just be ready with Otto's irresistible dance. It'll just work.
Okay.
Kick him out the door again if it's somebody that we don't like.
Well,
All
We are
right,
never
well,
going to get
stand-
these
stand
people like
behind me.
raised from the dead and out of the gem. It's just not going to happen.
I've been
If we
trying
did it
for
in a
so long.
library, then
Ever,
Like,
ever,
you guys
ever
talked for
happened.
so long, Christiana just got impatient. We could have done it by now. We had to go
All
fucking
right, get
around.
behind
Okay.
me. at the ready.
You
And
can
I'm gonna
expel people
crack-
from the tower if you need to, right?
I think so.
I mean, I
But
think
again,
if
he
someone's
has
in,
that
you can't like.
circlet.
There's not an
Oh.
ejector seat.
Can't reject their
No.
But
their
he has
invitation.
that circlet that like couldn't he just
Lets
like
him do
do
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I already fought somebody with that circlet once before, and this time I'm a really good bouncer.
Oh, you can expel any unwanted creatures from the tower
I
with
thought
an
so.
action.
I
I
had
thought so.
forgotten. So yeah, that's
Yep.
yeah, you can do that. Hmm.
Yep. Okay. All right. I'm gonna open the door
All right,
just a smidge and look out.
sure. So through the tiny crack in the door, you see it's. I mean, it's dark because it's not yet sunrise. But you see a tiny sliver of beach. No one moves to be visible in that crack.
All right. Well, I guess you don't want us to talk to you, and I'll start to shut the door.
I mean, you go ahead.
Show yourself if you want us to know you're there.
Wrong address?
Must have been. There was nobody out there in the tiny crack that I peered through. I mean, if they were
can I
all-
use my true sight to like look around, see if anybody's snuck in?
I
Maybe
mean,
No,
just
they
a little
wouldn't.
crack, but
yeah.
all right. Do I see anything?
Oh, for crying out loud. I'm going to open the door again.
Okay. Well, what you see when you actually open it more is you do not see anybody, but what you do see is written in the sand in about like, maybe like 10-inch high letters is, are we doing this or what? And I think that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Right then. And then I close the
We're
door.
never gonna get to meet these people, man.
Well,
Yes, we
the
are.
funny thing is that describes our party style. Are we doing
Yeah.
this or what? I don't know. Let's debate it for a while, figure it out, and then not.
Clearly, he hasn't
Like
been exposed to us enough.
tried. I tried so hard, Jenny.
Well,
We still
look,
can.
Hey,
I
even brought it
so
up.
let me just be clear right now. Obviously, you can now still proceed to go do what you were wanting. I'm just indicating to you that it would seem that he's in the area and he's waiting on you. So,
Yeah.
do with
All
that
right.
what you like. But
He
we'll
can
have to
wait.
find out what that is a little longer because I believe we're not having a regular session next week. We'll talk about if we maybe do something, but we're going to be down a player, so might do something else. But so hopefully 2 weeks will still work though. Will everyone be here on the 19th?
I believe so. Yes.
I should be.
Yep.
Okay, well, so that's the plan then. So thank you everyone for listening and or watching, and we will be back with more adventure in 2 weeks on so many levels.
So many
Many
levels.
levels of
and arguments
confusion
and
and mazes.
Corpses and diamonds.